Del borde de la plataforma.
Today's Thursday, September 28th. I want to give you an update as to what's going on from yesterday. I can tell you that as far as my Medi-Cal lawsuit is going on, I've been getting the runaround trying to get the right medication. What's going on here is that they have a generic name called sulfa-methotrexate-E-temp. So you can't go by the generic name because they can say sulfamethotrexate-temp and they'll forget about the -E. So it's got to be like -E-temp. So you cannot go by the generic name or the brand name. And even if you go by the brand name, they might give you a brand name that's like doxycycline or cephalexin, but you actually want Bactrim, what you want, double strength. But you can't go by the name, so you got to go by, it's called the CDC code, or it's called the NDC code. The CDC code was like the old standard. Now they have a new one called the N of the Nancy, NDC, Nancy, David, Charlie, NDC code. So, when you go to the pharmacist, you got to refer to the RX number. But the RX number is sort of like an envelope that contains all the prescriptions that you ordered. And you can't go by RX because when you go visit CVS Pharmacy, when you go visit, for Aurobindo, and you go visit for Teva Pharmaceuticals, it seems like Aurobindo is like Arab and Teva is Israeli. But it also seems like, Aurobindo, has different medicines, and if you get the right medicine from Aurobindo, it's of superior quality than Teva, because like Teva, I have this pox on my legs, and they want me to like scrape off these leeches and like rip the skin out of my legs, and it starts to bleed and pus, and this is what the Israelis want you to do at Teva. And also Aurobindo came up with something similar medication to Teva, but they also have something else called Bactrim, that it doesn't create a bleeding ulcer, it doesn't create a blood clot, it doesn't create an aneurysm. It takes the pox and it shrinks it. It dries it up like zinc or magnesium. It shrinks it until it goes away. It's manageable that you can scrape it off without going crazy. So you gotta look out for Bactrim. But when you go to the CVS, they try to like sell you stuff from Teva, or they try to sell you stuff from Aurobindo that is like in stock, because it's like cheaper medicine, and they're like trying to get rid of the inventory. And because like the really good stuff, like the Bactrim and the brand name, and Bactrim is not exactly, there's also a generic that works really well. But they're trying to get rid of the inventory because the good stuff they're selling for like $100 a bottle or $1,000 a bottle. So they're trying to stick you with the inferior medicine that they have in stock that nobody wants. So that's what's going. And so when you go to CVS, you got to ask the pharmacist, what is the NDC code? And when you go to refill or when you go to reorder, you got to make sure, on the notes, when you go to the doctor, you say on the notes, please confirm that the NDC code is 26794, You can't just go by the name, because if it's like -E-temp or -temp without the -E, it's a totally different category of drug. That's what's going on with the Medi-Cal. And then what's going on with the courthouse with pay-to-play criminal racketeering is that I called all the administrators and I asked them, well, if I am going to the courthouse and if I go to Beverly, because my case was transferred to Beverly Hills Courthouse with Judge Michael E. Whitaker, who's a Filipino, and we're at war with the South China Sea. I don't understand, like, how is this guy impersonating me? He changed the case name from Leo Kona versus Gavin Newsom to Leo Kona versus Tracy Anderson. I didn't do that. And if you look at the case, if you look at the docket, there's no indication that this has occurred on the docket. So I called, and I've been getting a runaround from David W. Slayton of the Stanley Mouse Courthouse, and also Nancy Medina, who has a daughter, Medina, that works at the Social Security Office, and ID.me, and is stealing unemployment insurance with Eduardo Garcia. I told you that. But what's going on here is I said, well, if I go to Beverly Hills Courthouse, or if I go to any California courts, if I go to Stanley Mouse Courthouse, if I go to Santa Monica Courthouse, if I want to initiate a new unlimited civil case, do I have to prove that I'm Leo Kona with a driver's license? Or like, What if I go in there and I say that I'm Anthony Blinken? Or what if I go in there and I say that I'm Jonathan Cantor? Or what if I go in there and I say that I'm Charlie Munger or Joe Biden, you know? Are you going to check my driver's license? Are you going to check my real state ID if I don't have a driver's license? And according to the people, the clerks and the administrator, Alice Grant, administrator of the Stanley Mouse Courthouse, they won't even answer my phone. And when you talk to them, it's like, no, we don't do that. We're like, you can just go in and start any lawsuit, and you can say you're Joe Schmo, and nobody's even going to check it for identity verification, you know? So now I'm going to take it up. I'm going to file a motion to intervene. I already filed a motion to intervene with Joe Biden, President Joe Biden. Now I'm going to reach out to the Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, and the Assistant Attorney General for Antitrust Litigation, because, you know, they have every angle covered. Gavin Newsom, giving Australia Newsom. They have every angle covered, so this is an antitrust that requires a divestiture. So right now I'm going to reach out to California Senator Dianne Feinstein, because she is conducting an audit on California courts with the Judicial Performance Committee and the Judicial Council. And she has already cracked down on the 2nd District Court of Appeals, Division 5. She put Lawrence Lee Rubin in prison, along with Dorothy Kim and this other guy from Florida. So I don't remember his name. But what's going on here is that Senator Dianne Feinstein, she is cracking down on this. And I'm going to file a motion to intervene and a motion for enforcement on a state of war emergency and emergency action, because there's a coup d'etat going on. And I'm going to ask Senator Dianne Feinstein to crack down on pay-to-play criminal racketeering at the Stanley Mouse and everywhere else, because they're not even checking your driver's license. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. Santa Monica. This is the place to be.